Hey guys, let's see if this thing is working. Let's close. Right, how's the volume of the microphone? That's interesting. I didn't know Beyond Skyrim was gonna start doing that. Sounds pretty good. Alright. Okay, so what I was thinking of doing today is just do a concept for landscaping, and I wanted to try something different than usual because if you've seen maybe one of my older streams about landscaping and landscaping concept for landscaping or just other concepts that I did, it's usually just, I do a sketch and then paint that up, and more often than not it's a generic location, it's not a specific place. But this time I decided, I went into CK and took a couple screenshots of this camp, like how it looks in CK right now. So it's an area that hasn't been worked on, and basically I'm just gonna draw on top of this. And this particular location is a trainer camp, you can see it here. And I got another screenshot, like here you can see that there's basically nothing going on in this camp, it's just a bunch of nothing basically. So we're gonna try to make it from 2 angles and hopefully make it a bit more interesting. Alright, so as usual, if you have any question, feel free to shoot them in the chat, I'll try to answer. One of my French girls, where are they? I don't think there's any. But yeah, so the first view I want to tackle is this one coming from like when you approach the camp. So it's more like how it looks when you approach it, and then we're gonna do like a set dressing for the other part of it. And I was thinking that doing it like this, it's a bit more useful because we already have the location from the CK, so we already know the confirmation of the landscape, and that should help a little bit when landscapers, in this case Arxi, will go in and actually build this thing out. So one thing I want to try to modify, it looks pretty dark to me at the moment, so I kind of want to maybe have some light streaming in from this side, just to establish some tones early on. I mean, this is not exactly a mood concept, but yeah, it can still be pretty useful to think about that. Okay. It's Photoshop feeling a little bit unresponsive. I just recently switched to the newest version, like CC 2018, but I don't know. I might just have to downgrade. How's everyone doing this fine Saturday morning? At least morning for me. Hey Hibbity Hoopity! Welcome to the stream. Nice. Unit testing. Whatever that means. Hey Zakros. Sorry guys, but Photoshop seems pretty laggy. Let's try to. Give me a sec. Just gonna boost up performance a little bit. Alright, sounds good. Unit testing. How much time? Well, depends on the piece, but usually just a few hours probably. Let's see if I have. Maybe I can close up a few things. I really hate to paint when it's unresponsive like that. I might even close the second Photoshop with the references. We'll do without for now. Alright. Oh yeah, it's a little bit better. Actually, that's pretty nice. Whew. I'm drawing a trainer camp, which is a camp north of Anvil. And like I was saying earlier, we're going to try something a little different. Instead of starting completely from scratch, I just picked up a screenshot from the creation kit. So this should help the landscaper because they already have sort of a landmass established, and we're going to keep that, just adding interesting elements to it. So it should be a little more helpful than just doing generic landscape locations, basically. Hey Spyros, good to see you here. My streaming schedule, that's a tough question because I'm working full-time as a lead artist, so I just stream whenever I have time and I feel like it, basically. But there are plenty of other guys that stream more often than I do. So there should always be, at the very least, one or two streams each week. Not by me specifically, but so from reading the lore, if we can call it like that, of these plays, we can just assume it's been abandoned. You can see the cobweb, so it's not being used as a, I don't know, hunting camp, whatever. And the only real information we have is that there are 2 bedrolls in it, so we can probably try to do some assumptions and see what we can come up with. one thing I want to do with this camp is kind of have it, since it's close to this hill, I kind of want to make it look a bit more, um, not hidden, but more like a private place of sorts. And there are a few different options of what we could think of lore-wise, like, well, it's a pretty simple camp north of Anvil. It could be, I don't know, a lover's getaway with just two bedrolls and a tent, but that sounds a bit simple. Um, doesn't really look like it could be a bandit camp, and since it's abandoned, um, there's quite a few things that could be hinted, like lore-wise, or what happened into this camp. Thinking probably some trees. Um, okay, so I'm thinking like a bunch of trees in here. We could do. I think, by the way, this is not exactly like the screenshot in CK. It's not 100% like it was in vanilla Oblivion. Like, at least I'm sure there are some trees that are missing. They were there in vanilla, but yeah, we're just gonna add them back in anyway. Like I said, I kind of wanted to have this sort of secluded, well, not secluded, but like a bit of more of a private space. Yeah, guys, we need more Spyros in this team. Like, we have to clone him or whatever. Like, it did such a great job with iron weapons and ebony, and so quick too. Someone get us a cloning machine, please. Yeah, sounds good. Thank you, Test Gamer. Well, yeah, maybe it looks like that, but I'm really trying to think hard at how this could be interesting for players when they visit it, because, like, yeah, it's just a simple camp, whatever, but if every location has some story to it, some more interesting features, it definitely is gonna add to the experience. Like, and that's something that I think it's pretty vital in landscaping, and our guys are doing such a great job with that. Like, every location needs to be uh, filled with life, I guess. Advice for digital painting newbies. Well, I would say the best thing you could do is, one, study from life, and two, study from old masters' paintings, like, I don't know, Rembrandt, Sargent, whatever. And I don't mean just copying them or just copying what you see, but really, you know, take your time and understand what you're seeing, like, why is this thing looking the way it does? Like, where is the light hitting? How does the color of the light interacts with the color of the object, and things like that? Like, really thinking instead of, blindly uh, drawing or painting, copying things, because that's not really helpful. You would see many people that just say, "Oh, I draw and paint 10 hours every day," like, but I don't improve. Guess what? Like, if you never really stop to think about what you're doing and deconstruct visually what you're studying, then you're never gonna learn anything, because you just learn to copy the pixel. And while it might be useful to know, like, to eyeball a color from a painting or a photo, it's way more useful if you understand why the color is the same way, you know? So you'll be able to replicate that color in your own painting, basically. Yeah, well, that's something that goes on in China, but there's also a reason why, because they have this kind of school or groups of people that make a living basically making copies of paintings, so they learn to do that, and they get paid very little. But you can also see, like, many Chinese concept artists or illustrators that developed their own style. But yeah, it's pretty different from that. Yeah, I'm using Awaken Intus 5M. It's from 5-6 years old, like from 5-6 years ago, but it still works, so I'm not gonna change it. And I don't know if I'll ever upgrade to Cintiq, to be honest. Like, it didn't seem very comfortable to me when I tried it, and it's just a matter of training your hand-eye coordination with the Intus. It's not so bad. Favorite modern day painters? That's really hard. Well, from contemporary traditional artists, I would say Mian Situ. He's a Chinese painter. Uh, he's really good. Like he does some amazing paintings. Um, and there's also like Clyde Aspovic. He's a landscape American painter, which is a lot reminiscent of Edgar Payne, and that's really cool too. Really love his work. Or Scott Christensen, and just thinking about traditional painter, like I don't know, Richard Smith, James Gurney. And for concept art, I don't know. Yeah, I have a few that I like, but I noticed that it changes a lot. Like maybe 1 month I'd be in love with this guy's work. The next month I already changed my mind, like I'm liking someone else's work a little more. The only concept artist whose work I always love but then never changes, Adam Adamovich, the guy that worked at Bethesda for Skyrim and Fallout and Shivering Isles. Like his concepts were out of this world, like really great vision and design skills. Not so much in painting per se, but like the design were just so good. Yeah, I know Jacob Rosalski. I gotta say I'm not a particular fan of his style and subject. Yeah, he's pretty good. Well, for sure, there are other two guys that I really admire, which are Theo Prince and Warren Jha, and both worked on Guild Wars 2 concept art, and I don't know, that's really outstanding, the quality of work those two guys put out. And I've seen an interview with Warren Jha, and his story is really something. Like, he worked for a 3D artist for a long time, but like he was doing that to provide for his family. Like he always wanted to be a concept artist, but like he didn't have the skill at the time. But yeah, he worked for like 7-8 years as a 3D modeler, and then while still working on his concepts, like in the evenings and weekends. And yeah, finally he was able to make the switch, and I don't know, right now he's doing some really killer work. So let's try a little something. I'm gonna grab these rocks right here, and I'm gonna make a new file. So let me show you this little trick, let's say. Yeah, I'm always super sad thinking that he passed, but I love that he basically left us his heritage in form of his art. That's really cool. So what I'm doing now is I'm gonna make these into a pattern. So edit, define pattern, right? And what I'm gonna do now is just make a selection for a bunch of rocks. We're gonna change the shape. Then I'm gonna go into the pattern stamp tool and I'm gonna select the new pattern that I just made. And I like to have this impressionist mode turned on. And what this allows me to do is basically grab a textured brush, let me see, like this one, and simply paint this textured mess that has the same color of the pattern that I sample of this rock, so you can see the colors are the same, and it kind of scatters this texture randomly around. And once I'm happy with how the texture looks, I can just go back to the regular brush and start sculpting out the forms a little bit. Yeah, sometimes I create my own brushes depending what I need to do, but like the majority of these are tweaked version of brushes that I found online, or I'm using some other people brushes because if I like them I just use them, it's pretty hard to come up with good brushes, especially if you don't have a specific need for something. Like if you already know what you need, then sure, but if you just want to have a cool brush, then it's not really that important. And it's true what they say, like the brush doesn't make the artist, but I can't help but having so much fun trying different brushes and see the different effects they can give you. And it's not that it doesn't matter at all, like they don't make you a better painter, but yeah, they can change the way you paint and how it affects your style, whatever. So it's not to say they're useless. I understand that people want to discourage beginners from focusing on brushes because some people think the brush makes the artist, but that's not the case. But still, they have some importance. Let's zoom in a little bit, maybe just want to add a few more things to the camp itself. So you can just zoom in a little bit and see. Like we could have a bunch of sacks here, I don't know, maybe you can find some flour in it. We could have, I think they are there in the region of the some stools. If people wanted to sit on something, that could be pretty useful to have. And for sure I wanted to have sort of like a cooking station or whatever. Just yeah, this is kind of falling over, so let's try to make it a bit more straight. So let's really decide who used this camp, because that could really inform the things we decide to put in it. Because you know, if it was a kind of a secret hiding spots for lovers, it would be one thing. If it was a hiding place for a criminal, it would be another thing. Basically, just considering things like that. Imperial Legion Forest. Well, I don't know, because like I said, the only thing we know about this camp is that it's been abandoned, so it's gonna need to look a bit more rundown that I did it right now. Like it knew originally that this it's kind of cobwebs hanging around these entries, whatever, and it was looking a bit rundown. So it's something that has not been used for a while, and we might try to think, why is that? Like, why is no one using this thing anymore? and who was using it before and why they are not doing so. Astro Boy, well, it's not that we hate it, it's just that we don't have it. Like, there's not a percentage for release. It's pretty hard to come up with something like that. And I know it's disappointing, like, for sure I'd like to know myself too, like, I really want to play Skyblivion like anyone else. But still, we don't really have something like that in place. And if you wanna try to hurry the process, like, the best thing you could do if you don't have any of the skill related for development of the project, you could for sure just share it. It might seem not so much, but it actually helps a lot finding new people to work on the project. Like, that is super useful. I think I might just want to have a big boulder here in the back. Let's see how that works. Well, no, there's not really a to-do list for us. Like, every department kind of has his own internal to the Discord development server, but yeah, that also changes based on people needs, because, for example, like for us, for concept, it depends a lot what's the priority. So maybe for a period we gotta focus on weapons, and those are priority, but then maybe we have to do, you know, we gotta do, yeah, landscaping concepts or creator concepts, because maybe a new artist joined and there are not enough concepts for him to do. Things like that, basically. It's kind of an organic process. Well, yeah, but you have to consider that that thing can create false expectation, especially with a volunteer project. Like, we could have 10% left to do, and with 3 people working and other leaving the project, it might take a year. Or we could have 50% left to do, but then, I don't know, 30 people join the team, work super hard, and we get done in like 6 months, you know. So I think it's pretty, does more harm than good having something like that, because I know for sure that hypes is a bad thing, and I hate it as well when you don't have a clear release date and people like us just keep saying, well, it's gonna be released when it's done. But I think that's for the best, because yeah, otherwise people would be pissed off if we say like, oh yeah, we get it done by the end of 2018, and then we don't, and people would be, but you said that it would be ready. And trust me, like, if we said something like, well, yeah, but then half the team left or was not active, people wouldn't really excuse that or care. Like, they would only care that we said it's ready and 2018 and it's not, you know. So another thing I wasn't really... Oh, did the stream die? Okay, I think the stream jumped. I don't know. Hey, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what happened. Hey, Kaya. Oh, it died only on Twitch. That's interesting. Oh, by the way, yeah, I totally forgot, but if you guys have questions and are watching on YouTube, please come to Twitch, because I only have open one chat, because it would be too hard to keep track of all the chats. So if you have questions, it's not like that I'm ignoring you, I just don't have YouTube open. And one thing, I kind of wanted to have some crates or chests in the back that could hide some books, or like they could potentially have the lore of the camp. So maybe, yeah, you approach, you loot some, I don't know, some food, some coins in the sacks inside the tent, whatever. But if you go around it and look between like the rocks, whatever, you find some information, some backstory for the camp. Could be a bit more interesting. Oh yeah, it's faint, like I had it going like since the start, but I thought it was okay volume wise. Well, let me know how that is, like if it's good volume wise. I try to raise them up a little bit. Hey Harry, nice to see you here. I was thinking that sort of like a side project or practice, because I'm also trying to learn some CK. I could just try to landscape my own concept. Not officially, of course, that's ArcC's job. But yeah, for practice purpose, and see how that could turn out. Hey Lorix, have a good night. Looking forward to your stream. See you. Let's had an indication of a fireplace that has not been used in a while. Let's add another stool here. Another good thing we could have might be that, you know, people could have come here to stay for a while, so they needed food. I think the music might be getting a little bit too loud. But anyway, I was saying that, yeah, they might have needed, I don't know, a place to hang, you know, drying meat or fish, but I don't think this is close enough to the sea or any body of water, so and yeah, I don't think we can really have any food left because it would have been rotten since it's been abandoned for a while. So we'll just have this drying rack, but it's gonna be empty basically. Yeah, exactly. It's a drying rack for meat or things like if whoever came to this camp and needed to stay for a longer period of time, they would have needed something beside just crates. So yeah, definitely drying rack could have been a useful thing to have. And President Kiss, where did you learn how to do all these? Actually, well, I'll try not to tell the whole story of my life, but I was into programming at first. I really wanted to work as a programmer for games, but like studied that in school, didn't really like it that much. So at like 23 years old, I decided I wanted to do something different, but I still wanted to work in video games. So I thought I would be like a 3D artist or something. Started studying that, but some people suggested me that I still go and learn some art fundamentals like drawing and things, because it's always useful to have it even if you're a modeler. And ultimately I preferred that to 3D, and for a good year and a half I was just doing, you know, master painting studies from photographs and following tutorials on YouTube and controlpaint.com. After that I took a couple online classes at CGMA and some online mentorship with other professional artists, like private mentorships. But like the majority of it, like in these 5 years, I started doing these. So since 2013, it's been mostly self-taught, like just really focusing on fundamentals, how things works, and studying. And it's definitely something you can learn to do. You just need to love it and do it with some sort of like method. And going to school doesn't always help or work. Depends a lot on the school, on the teacher, and especially on the person. Like some people just learn better if they learn on their own. Games that I liked based on their art style. Yeah, there are actually quite a few, I think. For once, the first that comes to mind is Dead Cells, which is that Metroidvania games in pixel art, but they used 3D to help out the pixel art, so it's like really polished and it has beautiful colors. But yeah, there are so many, it's pretty hard to think about specific ones. Let's see. Banner Saga, yeah, was pretty cool. I didn't especially play the game too much, I just tried it out, but the style is really cool. And if we're talking about hand-painted like 2D games or just stuff that is not, you know, Skyrim or Witcher 3, like things that have a specific style, definitely Ori and the Blind Forest. That was a big inspiration of mine. And Rayman too, it's pretty good. Right, let's try to do some little work on the values here. I want to darken this foreground, something that says maybe there's another hill, so there's a shaft of light that's kind of coming in between a rock and a hill, something like that, so it blocks the light some more. And I'm gonna darken this tree to separate it a little bit more, and probably pop in some of this light. Well, thank you. I wouldn't say talent, like honestly I'm not trying to be humble or anything, like, because if you see my earliest drawing, they really look like shit. But yeah, it's like practicing and learning really helped a lot, defining, and it's something, well, just not partially, it's creativity you develop, but just starting, it's something, it's a muscle, you can just develop it if you train it. And of course at first you'll have an harder time, but the more you practice, the better it is. And even for stuff like reading books, you know, it expands your visual library, which is where you draw your ideas from. Feeling like this hill could use some greenery on top of it. Let me see if I have something like this, probably. Yeah, actually, I don't know if I'll refine it that much, because as long as it reads and it has informations that are understandable for the landscaper, I don't really need to refine it that much. Because yeah, you can see where the rocks are, where the plants are, and more often than not, that is really enough to communicate to landscapers what the idea was. So yeah, it depends a lot on the scope and the use of the piece. I think we could use some work on this tree here. And it's in shadow, so it's gonna catch some of that sweet skylight. Hey Sir Whitecloths, hello, welcome to the stream. Also thinking that we could make it so we could have some foliage sneaking in to make it look a bit more overgrown. I'm concepting a Trene fort, which is a camp north of Anvil. And well, the only thing we know is that it's been abandoned for a while. We don't know who was there before. It just has a vanilla tent and 2 bedrolls, so there's not much information for us to know what was going on there originally. And yeah, in a second I can also pop in a little comparison to see the progress we did so far. So I'll just bring in the original one. Right, so yeah, it's coming along. And we could have indication of some more tree trunks here. Do we have a lot of artists? Yeah, there are quite many concept artists, but even more so like 3D artists, because of course like concepts. Well, it's not that they're less needed, but it's also a faster work to do, just doing a painting rather than making the whole model. So that's usually why, and also depends on the period, like. But yeah, overall there are more 3D guys than 2D guys. Yeah, I get what you mean, present. I'm not really taking that into account personally. I'm just thinking about the specific camp, like what it could be, what it was used for. I'm not really thinking about the style or how it could have been arranged based on the culture. Also because, well, yeah, it's a camp, could have been different, but I think the main difference would be based on the use that it was made for, you know, like an hunter camp is going to be really different from a soldier camp, from a bandit camp to a lover camp, whatever, you know. So that's what I'm trying to focus on rather than the possible difference in cultures. Yeah, a couple bottle of meats could be cool. And I mean, they could mean actually whatever, you know. Everybody drinks meat. Oh, it's Photoshop, and no, it's not. It's not free, but it's, well, if you have the subscription, it's like $12 each month, which is not super bad. I also know from the lore that there's a road that passes close to this camp, so definitely cannot be a hiding place for some bandit whatever, because they wouldn't have got a hiding place close to a trafficked street or any street whatsoever. So we're just gonna assume it was used by some good folks. Yeah, I think that like a citizen, but even more so like the cities themselves, need a little bit more research because they have different architectural style. So it's something you definitely want to consider. And also, like, even for weapons, I actually do that. For example, you might have seen some of my katanas unique weapon design. And since lore-wise they come from Akavir, you know, like Akaviri Thunderblade or whatever, I actually try to incorporate that into the design. So for example, the Akaviri Thunderblade has a snake motif to it, which is not there in the original, and that's simply to reflect the fact that it comes from a different place, which has his own culture and probably design. So yeah, that's definitely something that comes into place at times. This place is slightly north than Anvil. It's not too far away from Anvil to the north. Is there a way you can look at all the work I've done for Skyblivion? Yes. Well, I'm not sure if it's all, but it's most of it, and it's on my art station or actually on my portfolio. But it's, yeah, it's not all of it, I'm afraid. Let's see, I should update it. But yeah, a lot of it, it's here. And from there you can click on a website and there should be some more, especially weapons. I grouped them together. Actually, let me do these. There are a bunch here, but it's not all of it. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. I should definitely update it. Yeah, it's not too far from Anvil. Yeah. I'm thinking it could be cool to sort of have a path that leads to the camp, maybe. So let's try to scribble one. Maybe it's something like this. And part of it would be overgrown because maybe it's not being used for a while, so we can add some little bushes in here so it's not super neat and tidy. And it was the same in the camp, like if you've seen the original, like this was like a round place of clean dirt, meaning that there was nothing overgrown. But if it's the camp, it's been abandoned for a while, then for sure there will be plants growing back in, so it's something to consider. Maybe some flowers here or there would be cool. Give me a second, I'll be right back. Alright, sorry. Let's see if we can sneak in. Just a hint that we might have some flowers together. And maybe we want to have a couple of those funny butterflies. Just maybe tone them down so they're not too distracting. And let's see if we can sneak in a couple of bottles of mead. Yeah, but it's something to consider. I mean, otherwise location would be pretty empty. And these are not like I don't want to say like strict guidelines. So if a landscaper thinks that mushroom doesn't go well there, he can decide to not put them in. So yeah, it's more like an inspiration, like a sort of thing rather than an exact reference to copy 100%. That's giving ideas of elements you might wanna put in, because sometimes it gets pretty hard to think like what can be in there, you know. So if we give them something to work with, we try to make their life a little bit easier. All right. Good morning, back in Wizard. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so I'm thinking we could also start doing the other view of the camp. Just maybe add. And I think there was a table, maybe, in the original. Let's see. Well, yeah, it's like a campfire with some stools, not exactly a table. Yeah, I guess you could say that. We got the meat going. Thinking this is a bit too brownish. Just wanted to have some extra greens in here. Maybe. its head like a bush or whatever. Well, sure, even though I don't know how bad it will look printed and like at a high size, like a big size on the wall. It just happened to me once. Like usually I don't sell. Well, for Skyblivion we cannot really sell anything for copyright purpose, whatever. So we just gave away free stuff. But like with my own work, just happened once that someone bought a print, and like I said, I don't usually have prints for sale, but it was requested, and they printed like a 2 meters size of this game concept that I did for a personal project of mine. It was really strange. Okay. Yeah, something like that. Alright, let's see what we can do with this thing. Because basically, like, this works pretty well as an overview. Like, this is what I wanted to do when you approach the camp. What do you see? But the other thing is like a closer view, and we're coming in with that other screenshot from like this way. Alright, so we're gonna have to translate the choices we made here into this thing. Yeah, so let's try to bring some of that to this place. So we had the light coming in from this direction. And one of the first thing we changed was the tent. So I'm actually gonna do that first thing. We're gonna see the lit side of it. Well, it's pretty detailed, but also like it's gotta be painted pretty large, because otherwise you get all the details blurred out. Like I could get super detailed, but if it was like a desktop background size, then you would lose all of those details when you print. And I'm not an expert on printing because I don't know, I never really cared about printing things. But yeah, you gotta really probably paint with knowing that you gotta print it at a later point, because otherwise it might look just like shit. What? parking oust. Alright, so another thing to take care of first is, this is the thing I was talking about earlier, you know, that we broke up the space of the camp, which was this round patch of dirt with nothing going on inside of it. So we're gonna add some more foliage, just gonna scatter some foliage around. And I don't like the beds to be out, so just gonna cover them up. And yeah, like I said, the only thing we really know is that this thing is abandoned, so it's gonna try to enforce that feeling. Right, so let's see, from this angle we should probably be able to see some of these rocks. Maybe not too much because there's some space. For sure we're gonna see the drying rack here, so that might be one of the first things we're gonna do now. Let's sneak in some of those rocks. Can act as framing. I'm using a pen, it's a Wacom tablet, Intuos 5. Yeah, once you do this profession, it's pretty hard. If you want to do it with the mouse, it's not very efficient. Just gonna get rid of these old campfire and stools. We're gonna add our own things. Alright, so take a look at this again. Just gonna add this drying rack and couple of sacks there. Okay, so we have this old drying rack for meats that people could have used when staying at this camp. Just gonna add a little indication of ropes keeping this thing together, something like these, and then there would be ropes where the meat was hanged to dry. But of course, like, there's no meat, like it wouldn't make sense to have any right now. And not only because it's abandoned, but even if it was abandoned recently, a camp in the wilderness, it would make sense that animal just came in and ate all of the meat. So we could say there's no meat left. Just add a little cast shadow on the tent. I think the music's finished. Yeah, it was on Skyrim for a while already. Let's go back to Oblivion. Let me know if you can hear it and how's the volume of the music. This one. The sweet sack of flour. Just duplicate it. Change it. And then, like I said earlier, I wanted to have some sort of like crates or chests behind the tent. Just to crate first, and then we can see. Because I don't think having a treasure chest would make too much sense in this particular camp. So just a regular storage crate. things like that. And there could be another one, different size maybe. And we could go back to the mead idea. So we can try to sneak in a couple bottles. And maybe let's have one that fell over. Yeah, that's right. This looks more like, I don't know, orange bottles, like orange juice bottle. Yeah, there are none in Oblivion, so I hope it will be clear what they represent, and it's gonna be like really small. So yeah, from the size, it should be good enough. Hey Whiskey, welcome. And maybe other thing I was talking about before, just have a book here that could have, it could be a rather like a generic book, or it could be specific to if we want to add some lore to the place, but of course that is kind of extra work, so I don't want to say for sure which is gonna be, but just, you know, have an indication that you could find something interesting. Yeah, sure. Actually, we could have a wood cutting log, like around here, maybe. Let me change the brush. Alright. Give me a little second. Alright, I'm back. Well, actually I don't know which tent model we have or which we're gonna get, but yeah, you could use some animal skin, whatever, but that's not really the point of the concept because I'm not making a concept for the tent. So it doesn't really matter which tent I draw because we're just gonna use the tents that the modeler is gonna make or the ones we have. So it would be different if I was making a concept for a specific tent to be modeled. So then, yeah, that would matter. And so we have this woodcutter axe. And maybe there could be, you know, it would make sense if there was some piled up wood close to it. So just some chopped wood here. Thank you, Sylvan Lore. Glad you like it. So let's take a look at the previous one I was doing. So yeah, we had the sacks, the rack, the boxes there, and we had some stool that were just, I was thinking rather than little real stool, it could be stumps, but yeah, we could actually use some stools, so that could be nice. And actually, let's try to make this tent a bit more run down so it has like a spider web or two. Going around here. And also, like, we might want to try to add some noisy texture to it, because it looks a little bit clean, so to speak, but if it's been out in the elements for a while since it's abandoned, we might want to weather it down. So let's see if I can add some dirt and texture to this thing. And like I said, this doesn't matter too much because it depends which tent the landscaper is gonna get. But it could actually be useful because like something like this is pretty easy to implement on a texture, just some scratches or dirt, so shouldn't be too bad. I could have. Let me see if I could do this as well. This should work. There's a little more space, but I'm still working quite soon though. So let's see. Okay, so next thing I want to add is the cooking station or stove, whatever, on the campfire. So let's try to build that. I should also probably save, because I haven't saved once since we started the streaming 2 hours ago. So yeah, it's just that I forget to save more often than not. I don't know. Even when I lost work, I just don't learn my lesson. I never do. Yeah, if I were working in CK, that could have been a real problem, like going 2 hours without saving. Could have been a mess. Yeah, I have a gallery. You can take a look at my art station. There you go. And again, let's I should probably bring out this reference that I had. Could make for a nice inspiration and just as some information. See? Well, yeah, there's not too much going on, but even like a pot like these, we're not gonna have any of the meat for sure, but yeah, this is nice. Thank you. Thanks, guys. Glad you like it. Right, so another thing I want to take care right now, it's some of the light. I'm just gonna try to darken this area and lighten up here. Let's see if we can bring the light. It's too hot. Kinda wanted to have a cast shadow from the tent, so maybe we can lighten all of these. And we can make it. Still not 100% sure. I want to see how this could look. You can see with crown. It's pretty good, pretty good. We're getting close to lunchtime, actually. It's pretty fun stream so far. We already completed the first concept, which is this one, and now we're doing like a zoomed in version with some more information. Yeah, I'm Italian. And thank you, glad I don't have the usual Italian accent. Mamma mia. I guess art was actually pretty useful in learning English for me. Beside video games, of course, but I had to really interact with people and learn to speak English. Which, yeah, with video games I could read and understand. Uh, but art kind of forces me to speak way more than I was comfortable with. Yeah, I really wanna, when I have some time, I really want to try to landscape these, to practice some CK skills. Should be pretty fun. I would really love to learn more CK to help the team, because yeah, I mean, concepts are useful to give guidelines for 3D modeling, inspiration for landscaping, but they do not really, you know, contribute actually to the progress of the project. That's at least how I feel like. Because yeah, for sure I know the importance of it, but unless someone's take that concept and do anything with it, it just sits there. So that's why I kind of wanted to learn some new skill to help the project. Oh yeah, it says 1 hour 11 minutes uptime because we crashed at some point. I don't know why, but it's been going on for yeah, 2 hours at the moment. Pretty sure. You can find Skyrim concept art. It's pretty easy actually. You just uh, search for Skyrim concept art and you can find a link to the USB wiki that should have the official concept art for Skyrim. Otherwise, it might also be actually for sure on the Bethesda blog on Flickr. So it should be pretty easy to find. some concept art that people might not be aware of, that it's really good. It's the Oblivion Shivering Isle concept art from Adam, and that's again on Flickr, and it's really good. I mean, I love Skyrim. Skyrim concept art, it's as good because it was from Adam as well, but I think Shivering Isles kind of allowed him to go crazy with the design. I'm not even sure how much of those crazy design actually made it into the final product, but it's really cool to see. Thank you, Mr. JB. Alright, let's take a look at the other concept we did. Okay, so yeah, if you see, we're basically, from this point of view, when we approach the camp, we're coming in from this direction. So that's our point of view here. This thing is really annoying me. Alright. And yeah, probably another stool. This one I might actually try to draw it first. Just so that trying to understand the perspective, it's a little bit easier than trying to paint it straight on. Right, so. And also help us define which side is lit and which side is in shadow. And let's add the usual cast shadow, just so it looks that it's actually sitting on the ground and not floating. It's pretty important. Thank you, Daenerys. Hopefully it should be pretty useful for landscaping. Having a few elements that define what the camp is about. Let's see from here. Yeah, we really can't see what's going on behind this place, so we might have to make something up. Actually, we could probably see those wood pieces, like sort of palisade, but not really palisade. We could have a bunch of these. Probably just gonna make it look more overgrown in a minute. So where is everyone from? Pretty curious. Germany. Nice. I haven't been to Germany in quite a while. A couple of years. Last time I was in Berlin, 2016, I think. Poland, actually. Yeah, Poland too. I've been in Szczecin in like 2015. Yeah, first time there. Well, actually, not first time in Poland because I visited like Krakow in 2014. Ireland, France, Slovenia, Sweden, all over Europe, Russia. Yeah, figure because in the US it's like middle of the night, so we cannot have any, like unless we have some people like Lorex that don't really sleep too much. Denmark. Cool, we're from all over the place. From America. Man, what time is it? Are you on the East Coast or something? Because I'm pretty sure like even West Coast it's like 3 AM at the moment, so maybe yeah, like East Coast is it's probably 6 in the morning or something like that. Planning to go to the US for like 3 months this fall maybe. I'm just gonna have to work there. Not really a holiday. Could be still pretty cool. I'm from Italy, actually. Couldn't you tell from my accent? Mamma mia. I'm gonna have some pizza for lunch. No, I'm kidding. I wish I had some pizza for lunch. bit more overgrown in here. Crazy Frog, you're doing like digital architecture stuff, but like, is it for architecture university or still aimed toward the entertainment industry? To be fully stereo, what are your pizza prices in Italy? Well, it actually changes a lot based on where you go. It can be as low as €4 for a simple margherita pizza, and €6 for like a pizza with toppings, but it can go up to like €9 to certain like mid-range restaurants. Of course, I don't know about high range because I don't go there to eat pizza, honestly. Yeah, it's fairly cheap actually. Yeah, updated software when you learn, it's like depending how outdated that is, might be a bit of a problem. Oh yeah, I went into quick mask. And sometimes, guys, if you use Photoshop and you can't seem to be able to draw on your layer or do anything, check in this bottom left area if you have the quick mask turned on by accident. That's what happened to me now. I was like, I cannot paint anymore. Oh man, recently like there was this kind of outrage because there's this famous cook that go doing television shows here in Italy, and at his restaurant they make you pay for the standard like margherita pizza like €16, and people just went nuts when they heard about it. But I mean, it's high class restaurant, right? So I went to Norway and I paid like €15 for a slice of pizza once, I think. Yeah, I'm using a Wacom 5 Intuos, not the Cintiq. I don't really like the Cintiq, to be honest. Yeah, Norway is super pricey. Right, let's compare once again. One thing is that, well, colors don't really matter actually because it's gonna be dictated by in-engine lighting. This is a bit cooler, like it's cold, more cold color compared to this. But I don't mind too much. We might actually just do something like this. And then just try to add some more blues in the shadows. See? It's like all warm, but with a bit more blue in the shadow, it already looks slightly more natural. No, I think the Cintiq are fine. I think the string crashed again. No, it just lagged. Cool. Now I was saying the Cintiq, I don't like it because I'm not used working on the screen directly with the pen, and also like depending how you set it up, you might get neck strain while looking at it. So at least for that, I prefer the Intuos. And by now it's just a matter of habit, I think. Well, it's not gonna be washed out in Skyblivion for sure if you've seen some screenshots. Even the one I posted yesterday on the subreddit, I think it's fairly colorful and it's for sure gonna be more, even more than that probably. Thinking that this area looks a bit empty. Yeah, how did you start with digital drawings like those? Did you study for it? Yeah, I did. Like I was saying earlier, I was initially a programmer, but I didn't like it too much, so I decided that I want to be an artist. First part of it was a lot of studying on my own, just studying photos and studying master paintings, learning the fundamentals, just looking up YouTube videos or Control Paint. And then I actually took a few online classes, but I would say most of it is learning on my own. I never got the chance to attend an art school because there are not many in Italy. And the funny thing is, when I was starting out, I was looking up the school. It looked interesting, but I ended up not attending. Turns out that 4 years later, so up until the beginning of this year, I was teaching there. Just a few years after I was thinking of studying there. That was pretty fun. The last thing I wanna add is something in this area because it's a little bit empty. There's nothing going on. I mean, I could actually have a bedroll there, like one could be in the 10, one could be outside. I don't know, not 100% sure about this. Tanning rack. Well, yeah, that could be a good idea actually. Good idea, good idea. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know about Elder Scrolls 6, especially concept art, but it's gonna be a pair of big shoes to fill in with what Adam left behind for Elder Scroll 5 and 4, I think, because those concepts are just amazing. There's still Ray, he's really good too, but I wonder who will get hired to work on Elder Scrolls 6 concept art. Well, yeah, that will probably change though. Like, we don't really plan to keep the same grayness the Skyrim had. We definitely want to have it way more reminiscent of Oblivion feeling, like more lush and colorful. So probably a lot of textures still need to be worked on, and that's why they're still a bit grayish. And here's the tanning rack. As usual, just put in cast shadow for it. Man, I really don't want to get hyped for Elder Scrolls 6 before the time's gone, because it could be amazing, could be bad, I don't know. I hope it's gonna be great. I hope they're gonna improve on it, take some risks, even if with such a big franchise, usually people tend to take less risks. So we'll see how that goes. Alright, so one last thing I want to do is just something not super important for this concept. I want to soften some of these edges to remove the focus from them. So when something is not really important, you might want to just go in and make the edges a little bit softer, like even when they're in shadow or when it's not a particular important piece, just go in like this and remove some of those harder edges. Okay. One last thing I want to do is try to push some of this warm light coming from bottom left. So it kind of has a bit of a hazy glow to it. Not too much, not too much. Alright guys, I think that's it for today. We did a training camp, and this is like the first view that we did. So when you approach the camp, and this is more like a zoomed in version of said camp, and it can have a little comparison shot for you where this is where we started from. Right, so this is what it was in Oblivion, and this is the work camp, and the same thing for the second part. This was the camp in Oblivion, and this is how we changed it to have a few more interesting elements and things going on. Right guys, thanks for tuning in. It was a fun 2.5 hours of stream, and I hope to do one pretty soon with maybe some unique weapon design or things like that. See you guys, have a good one.